There lived a man named Okporoko. His friends called him Trooks for short. Trooks was a merchant. He sold leather. He lived a good life. He was rich and a respected man in his community. He was fortunate enough to marry the love of his life, Amaka. Amaka was a kind woman. She was respected in the community. She was known to help people when she could. It seemed like the couple had it all: wealth, respect among their peers, and marital bliss. However, they were not really happy. They did not have a child of their own after 6 years of marriage. While Trooks wanted a child but was not really bothered, his wife Amaka was. She loved children. She wanted children of her own. One day, Trooks's kinsmen called him for a family meeting. They told him that he had to take a second wife. In the Akoko tribe, this was an accepted tradition, especially when the man was an only son, which Trooks was. At first, he refused because of his love for Amaka, but his family pressured him. He then took a second wife. The second wife, Ajonwa, was a wicked woman. She was very rude and arrogant towards people who were lower than her. She was envious of Amaka. She was most especially envious of the love Trooks had for Amaka. She thought that if she got pregnant and gave birth to a son, then she would have the support of the king's men to drive Amaka out. However, after 5 years of marriage to Trooks, it was Amaka and not Adonwa that became pregnant. Everyone in the community was happy for Amaka. This was her first pregnancy after 11 years of marriage. Trooks was so happy. He doted on his wife, bought her everything she needed, took care of her. At this time, a Scottish woman called Mary had moved into the Akoko tribe. She became fast friends with Trooks and Amaka, as she was one of Trooks' business partner. She bought leather and exported it to her country. Trooks and Amaka taught Mary their culture and traditions. One day, the midwives came to check on Amaka as she was about to give birth very soon. As they checked, one of the midwives noticed something strange. She said she could feel more than one heartbeat. Then, with her eyes wide open, she looked at Amaka. Amaka was scared and said, "What is it? What is wrong?" The midwife said in a whisper, "You're pregnant with twins." Amaka shouted, "What?" and covered her mouth. She said, "That cannot be." The midwife nodded and said, "It is." This was not good news. For you see, in the Akoko tribe, the birth of twins meant the sign of evil. While in other tribes, the sign of twins meant blessing, for Akoko it meant an evil curse, and such those type of children were killed immediately they were born. Amaka was scared and she told her husband. They both agreed to keep it a secret. Once the babies were born, Troops will take one of the babies to his mother's village, where the child will be raised and will be brought back. Unbeknownst to Amaka, Ajonwa heard all the midwife had said. When Amaka went into labor, Chooks sent for the midwives. They came into the house to help Amaka. As they were helping Amaka, Chooks could hear a crowd outside his house. When he looked from the window, he saw men and women shouting, "Kill the children, kill them, kill them, kill them. Twins means bad luck. Kill them," to cleanse the land. They were very loud. Shooks became scared. He did not know who to turn to in the village, as most of the people believed in this tradition, and some had already lost their children to this custom. Shooks had no one to turn to. But he had been waiting for these children for so long, and he was not going to let go of his children without a fight. He sent for Mary as Amaka was still in labor. When Mary got there, the villagers let her go into the house. As she came into the house, she saw Amaka screaming in labor pains and the midwives trying to help her. She turned to Chooks and said, "Who are those people outside your house? Why are they there?" Chooks told her, "Please, I need your help. I need you to take my children with you." He explained to her the customs of their people. Mary agreed. When the children were born, Mary took them. She went through the front door to show the Akoko people that she was taking the children out of the community. They let her pass. Mary went to a community called the Ado tribe. In that tribe, twins were welcomed. They were seen as blessings. Mary settled there with the twins, Izinni and Izinna, a boy and a girl. Amaka would later relocate to Ado because of her children. Chooks remained in Akoko with his wife, Ajonwa, but visited every month. After 13 years, Amaka came back to Akoko with her children. At this time, although the killing of twins had stopped, people were still suspicious of them. Fortunately, Amaka's twins were a boy and a girl. People did not immediately identify them as twins, except they were with their parents. Ajonwa was not happy. She was so bitter, as she still had not yet had a child of her own. After all these years, she was deeply envious. She kept telling the villagers that the twins were evil and cursed, most especially Ezinne. Ezinne, unlike her brother or anyone in her family, had blue eye color. Where everybody else had brown eyes, she had clear blue eyes. Ajonwa said that this was a sign of evil because the eye color was not as common amongst the people. Some people in the Akoko community believed Ajonwa. Some people did not. Either way, some associated with Izini, others kept away from her. As was tradition, Ezine was set to marry. Ezine's parents had arranged a husband for her, as was their custom. Everything went as planned. Ezine and her husband went home after the marriage ceremony. That night, once he set foot into the home, he slumped and died. Ezine screamed. She was beside herself. She was crying and crying. People rushed in and saw that he had died. At first, people said it may have been the stress of the wedding. It was okay. It was unfortunate, but Ezine will be fine. After a few years, Ezine was set to marry again. Her parents had arranged for another husband for her. But like the first one, the second one died on the wedding night. At this point, people started believing Ajonwa, thinking that Ezine is a witch. Ezine couldn't go out because no one wanted to talk to her. Sons were advised to keep away from her. She was plagued with mockery. Her mate had started marrying and she had not. People called her a witch because she had killed two of her husbands. Ezine was in pain. She would cry every day and her parents would console her. Her parents were very sad. So sad that one day Ezine's father became ill. When Mary heard that he was ill, she sent one of her close business partners, Dele, to go to Trooks with some medication for his health. Dele, who was also in the leather business, agreed to go so that he could buy some leather from Trooks. Dele, who was from the Adu tribe, had been in search of a wife, but because he had been in other countries conducting business, he had no time to find one. When he got to Akoko, he met Troops and gave him the medication. Troops asked him to stay for dinner before leaving. During the dinner, Dede saw Ezine and fell in love with her. She was the most beautiful woman he had ever set eyes on, and she seemed like a good girl. The next day, upon concluding his business with Troops, Dele told him that he would like to marry Ezine and commence the traditional rites. Because Troops respected Mary, and Mary had spoken highly of Dele, he agreed to this. However, he told Dele that Ezine had lost two husbands mysteriously before now. Dele said he was not worried about that. He still wanted to marry her. Troops agreed. Immediately, the traditional customs set in. Both parents met, the bride price was paid, and arrangements was made for the wedding ceremony. Ajonwa did not like this. She kept telling Dele not to marry Ezine, that he would die. Dele did not listen to her. In fact, he did not like Ajonwa. He had heard so much about her wicked acts towards Amaka and her children. The night before Dele was to leave for the wedding ceremony at Akoko, his parents talked to him. They told him that He would have preferred if he had married a girl from the Ado tribe. But since he had said he loved Izini, then they would support him. After all, she was a good girl from a good home. They told him that because of the rumors going around that she is a witch, when he goes for the wedding ceremony, he was not to eat or drink anything in their Akoko tribe until he got back home with his bride. He should be alert at all times. He was to go with his own bodyguards. Dele agreed to this. During the wedding ceremony, he did not eat or drink what was put before him. However, it became apparent that Ajonwa kept insisting that he drank from the cup she put before him, but Dele said no. During the wedding ceremony, Ezenna came to Dele and told him, "When you leave with your bodyguards, I would like to go with you." Dele agreed to this. When the ceremony came to an end, Izine and Dele returned to their guest house in Akoko. They planned to stay there for the night and then leave to Ado, his hometown. Once at the guest house, Izenna told Dele not to sleep and be alert, that something doesn't feel right to him. Dele agreed to this. So while Izine slept on the bed, he sat down and kept watch in the room. When it was midnight, an arrow was shot through his window into his room, and then an explosion was heard. There was fire everywhere in the room. The guards burst in to help Dele and Izine escape. Meanwhile, some other guards were chasing after the attackers who shot the arrow. Izine entered the room to rescue his sister and Dele. When the other bodyguards returned, they said the attackers had escaped. Izine asked them, "Did you see what they look like?" One of them said, "Yes, I saw them. One had a scar on his face." They were running towards the market square. Izena picked up a torch and said, "Follow me." When they got to the market square, they started searching. But Izena walked directly to a particular shop. When he got there, he could see that there was light coming from underneath the door. He burst in and saw Ajonwa with a man standing and talking. They were shouting. One of the bodyguards said, that's him, that's the scar on his face. That's him, I saw him." The man and Ajonwa were taken to the palace. At first, Ajonwa said she was innocent, but after the bodyguard was beaten up, he confessed. He said that Ajonwa had contracted him and his boys to kill Dele. At first, she tried to poison him, but he wasn't taking anything she gave him. Then, she contracted us to kill him. Immediately, everyone turned to look at Ajonwa. As they were looking at her, the man continued and said, "It is Ajonwa that killed Izine's husband." Everybody shouted, "How can you do this? How can you do this to your stepdaughter?" Ajonwa shouted, "She's not my stepdaughter. No, she's not. She's not. People shouted, "You are a wicked woman. You are a wicked woman." Ajonwa was sentenced to exile as she had committed attempted murder. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you liked it, please drop a comment, share, subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so that you'll be updated anytime a new video is uploaded. Thank you for the support. Bye.